teach science without a curriculum. Let's go. Okay, but first, of course, we have the product of the day. Product of the day is zones of regulation. If your child has trouble regulating or identifying emotions, try this. So, blue, sad; green, happy; yellow, frustrated; red, mad, and angry. And you can just download this off the internet. And what it is identifying your emotions. So, wow, you are so sad right now. You are blue. And then eventually it gets to, okay, what color do you think you are? Oh, what color are you feeling? And then they'll be like, oh, I'm yellow, I'm so worried, you know? And then you're like, okay, how do we get you back to green? So it's kind of an interesting system to help regulate their emotions and help get them back to green, which is calm and happy and peaceful and things like that. And you could talk about what activities, so when they're not in any type of, when they're in a green zone is a great time to discuss, okay, next time you get in a red zone, next time you're feeling red, what do you think, what are some ideas we could try to get you back to green? And do it like that so that you're both on the same team. Okay, so another product we want to talk about is Inventioneers. It's a free app that you can use. It's kind of science related because you're inventing things, and it's pretty cool for kids to use. I'll show you a preview on the screen. The next app is not free, but it's still very cool, which is CodeSpark. My kids are downstairs playing it right now, and it occupies them for a very long time, and they love it. They're essentially building video games. It reminds me of the older video games like Super Mario, where you just jump on stuff and things like that. Kind of, I guess, not very aggressive. So I kind of like it. Anyway, it's $14 a month, and this video isn't sponsored. I just like it. And the next thing I want to talk about is, what's the next product? The last product is Snap Circuit. It is science related. So Snap Circuits, don't be intimidated. Do not be intimidated. I was very intimidated to try it. It starts you off with really simple projects. All you have to do is look at the picture, copy the picture, and then it's got a box in the corner and it tells you how it works. And you read that box to the kid. And if it doesn't work, then you problem solve. Like, okay, well, let's turn this around. What is not like the picture? Is there anything that's not how it's supposed to be? And you can buy them used on Facebook or on eBay. That's where I bought a lot of them, and we have a ton of sets, and that's where I bought them from. Okay, so let's get into it. So step one, know what you're going to teach. Okay, so there's 5 main areas of science that need to be taught. This is number 1, know what we're teaching. So we're teaching geology, we're teaching chemistry, we're teaching physics, we're teaching biology, and we are teaching astronomy. So those are the 5 big areas of science. So step 2 is you can either look at your state requirements, what your school system is, what they would be teaching in the equivalent grade, or I got a couple different options for you. So these are classical conversations. They're by Classical Conversations, which is a Christian curriculum. And what I love about these cards is basically, now they were created, so there's cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. They were created to get your kids to memorize these things. So they got a system for doing that, and I think it's pretty cool, but that's not what we're using it for. That's not what I would use it for. You're just using it for the topics, invertebrates, and it's got a bit on the back, just so that you know what you're teaching. Plant cell, the building blocks of life for plants, and it's got information on the back. So it's got a ton of this stuff. So this is cycle 1, and there's, like I said, there's cycle 2 and cycle 3, and it goes through just a variety of things. The ocean floor. These are the cards that I would use. Okay, so I would just consider getting those cards. And the next, or lastly, I would consider is home learning year by year. And what I use this for, I primarily only use it when creating transcripts, just because every year I like to create a transcript just to know if my child were in the kindergarten group, or if he were in the grade 1 or the grade 2, what would he be learning, or what should he have learned? And is he above that? Is he below that? Is something I need to cover next year? And then I look at the bold. I look at the bold print. So it goes through all the way up to, I want to say grade 12, I think. So kindergarten science, okay? And it's got some recommended reading series here. I'm going to show you my favorite books later. But physical science, know the 3 states of matter, okay? And then you can go down and it's like, kids should be introduced to the idea that physical properties can be measured and should conduct simple experiments using non-standard measurements. And 3, investigate forces and motions. So just to give you an idea as to what you should teach and what you should focus on. Okay, so the next thing on our list, where is my list? The next thing, number 2, is to know that if you miss something, it's not the end of the world. Like, your child can still go to medical school, just because she's not gonna wake up one day and be like, oh my gosh, I wanted to go to medical school, but my mom didn't get me a science curriculum. No, that's not how it works. Anything she needs to know, or he needs to know, or they need to know by the time they get to that level, they'll be able to go back and learn it. And they'll be able to grasp it and apply it a lot faster than they would have if you had gone over it in kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. And there's even this series called the Focus On series, which I love. Some of my favorite books I'm gonna show you are made by the company called Gravitas Publications, and they do a science curriculum, but I'm not talking about the science curriculum, I'm talking about the Focus On series. The Focus On series focuses on those 5 main areas. So like if you miss something, when they get to, grade 7, grade 8, whenever you think you're ready, or if you wanted to, you could just get those books and it covers everything that needs to be covered on those topics that's important. There's no busy work with that curriculum, and that's why it's one of my favorites out there. Okay, so I just don't want you to panic is what I'm saying, and to doubt yourself. We're all gonna doubt ourselves and all think there's a better way. Your gut's telling you to do this, go with your gut. Your gut's not wrong. Number 3 is use books. Okay, so let me show you my favorite books to teach science. This is from Real Science for Kids, and look at this. Atoms, are clouds made of cotton candy? Are frogs made of green slime? Frogs are not made of green slime. Frogs are made of atoms. We are atoms. So I love this line. So they got one for molecules. So they have proteins, things like that. So now, these books, so they're $12 a book, or you can buy the whole set for $72. Now they have them in all 5 areas that I mentioned. So you can go through and, I just love those books, but I obsessively love books. I just love books. So let me go through some of my favorites, including the best deal you're gonna get, as far as I'm concerned, for books. The best deal is the Usborne Beginners Science Collection. It is $35, and you get books on the human body, volcanoes, living in space, storms and hurricanes, planet Earth. And let me just give you a preview into one of these just so you can see what it looks like. Ooh. Undersea eruptions. Black smokers. So it's got a lot of interesting and helpful information. Violent Vesuvius. Okay, so it's got a lot of helpful and interesting information. And these are some of my favorite Usborne science books. There's actually a few Usborne books that I don't like regarding in science. And in my Usborne book haul, I did talk about which ones I didn't care for because I had bought them and I didn't like them, and that's how I know I don't like them. Anyway, next up is, so Elemental Science, they have the Sassafras Science Collection. They're read aloud. So essentially it's kids who, they failed summer school. So in order for summer school, they're sent on all these missions. All right, so for example, zoology. Chapter 1 is, you'll see the chapters here because you can come up with corresponding stuff that goes along with them if you wanted to. The African grasslands, off to the desert, escaping the tomb, on to Canada. So it's just got, bees, buzzing bees, find out about foxes, things like that. So, and they cover all 5 areas. You can do, it comes with like additional materials as well if you wanted to purchase them, but you don't have to, and I didn't, and I don't find that I need them regarding that. So next up for interesting books is, of course, the Magic School Bus. You can get a ton of them used. There's so many of them, and every library has a bunch of them on any topic you can think of. And what I like is that, so for each, I didn't used to like it when my kids were young. It used to irritate me because they used to ask me to read it all the time. But then I realized you don't have to read every single thing on this page. So you can start off just reading this, and as they get older, start to read this. And then there's additional information on the side here that as they get even older, you can read those things. So I highly recommend the Magic School Bus. I think they're great books. These are what a lot of science programs recommend. They are Let's Read and Find Out. That is the series. So Forces That Make Things Move, What is the World Made of? Book. Another book is that everyone talks about, the Usborne Book of Animals. A lot of science curriculums recommend it, but what I love about this is at the back of the book, it has different, like there's Antarctica, the Arctic, New Zealand, Southern Forests, the Outback, the Tropical North, Australasia. So I just like that it goes to swamps and mountains. So it's got kind of, if you will, different ecosystems it discovers. And then let's see, these are, I'm getting close to 2 of my favorite books. Well, first, before I get to the 2 of my favorite books, this one's good. It's all about energy, laws of motion. It is the DK Find Out Science and the water cycle, forces, things like that. So definitely good. But this is one of my 2 favorite books. This is Human Body Theater. Oh my gosh, it's about this skeleton and he puts on a play. Act 1 is the skeletal system, and then in Act 2, he puts on his muscles. And so let's go in and let's see. And I like that it teaches, like, look at this stuff. Teaches what cells are. Zoom in. And there, what cells are, and things like that. So one of the reasons I don't like a lot of science curriculums, I have a curriculum I love, but I don't like a lot of science curriculums is because of busy work. I don't like it. Another way you can teach your kids, of course, is taking them into nature, right? Nature is a huge thing, and just answering questions that they have about the world, especially when they're young, which brings me to my favorite book, Under Earth, but then you flip it over, Underwater. So this is written by a teacher and an artist. I love their maps book as well. Their maps book is, I mean, it's just a great book. So this is everything that goes on under the earth, from plants to animals to septics to sewers. I mean, look at this. It's so cool. To natural gas. You just like open it up and you're like, oh, this is amazing. Tunnels, the tunnel boring machine. Look at this. Yeah, more tunnel stuff. Oh my gosh. I just think it's just dinosaurs. And then you flip it over, it does the same thing with water too. It goes into everything under the water, man-made and God-made. And number 4 is use documentaries and TV series, like documentaries, TV shows, or YouTube channels. I need to know your favorite YouTube channel for teaching science. So Peekaboo Kids is one of my favorites. Yeah, what else is there? Like, let me know. And one of my favorites is from the library. The library has a lot of DVDs. We bought a DVD player and I love it. I wish I had 2. At my parents' house, I have 2 2 DVD players when I stay with them, and they both get used. I love it, going to the library and picking out videos. Anyway, they have a whole science collection, and they have the Magic School Bus, but the old videos, the old ones, which I love. I think they're awesome, and they teach quite a bit on all the different topics I mentioned. So again, what's your favorite YouTube science channel? Another one I love is Ants Canada. Ants Canada, it is pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about experiments, number 5. Number 5, and this is the final part of this video, is experiments. There's 4 parts to experiments. You can start this at any age. Just get a box of experiments, get on Pinterest, whatever you want. And start with number 5 is, what do you think will happen? This is your hypothesis. What do you think will happen? The next step is do the experiment. After that, you record the results. What did happen? And the last step is you debate the results, or you discuss the results with other scientists who maybe had different findings, or maybe think you missed something in the experiment, or maybe have ideas of a different way. Basically, you can discuss or even argue with other scientists about the results. That's okay. In science, you're testing stuff. It is perfectly okay to test science and to question science. I don't know why people think that's such a bad thing, to question it. It's perfectly okay and acceptable, because that's what science is. It's gotta hold up to these standards and these tests, and so you gotta do more. If it's not sufficient and it's not answering questions, well then you do more experiments. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you tune in tomorrow, and I hope you subscribe so I can hit 300 subscribers. Honestly, I'm so close. I'm so close. Help me out. And have a good day.
Please like and subscribe.
Yes.
And hit the bell for notifications.